What's up, Strange Oddities Podcast viewers and listeners? How you guys doing tonight? Man, it's cold outside. Let me tell you, this morning it was below 30 degrees on my way to work. I froze my butt off early this morning. Let me tell you, it was cold, man. Well, break open a nice warm cup of coffee, brew a cup of coffee, get a warm cup of apple cider if you want. We're going to enjoy ourselves tonight on the Strange Oddities podcast because we have a really cool guest. We're going to introduce this gentleman in a little bit. Guys, as always, you guys know the show if you're avid listeners of Strange Oddities podcast. I get all this boring stuff out of the way because we want to talk about fun stuff. This stuff is boring, but all the good information, follow us on Facebook, guys. All the upcoming guest information and all Strange Oddities podcast news and information that you want to follow our podcast with, go on Facebook, follow us there. I post a lot of information there. Also, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. It's the little bell at the top right corner of our main YouTube channel page. Go there. Kindly hit that. We are simulcasting on multiple platforms. We're on Facebook, YouTube. We're on kgraradio.com. They're going to have a brand new website launching December 1st, so keep an eye out for that. Guys, also, we're on iTunes, Spotify. We are on Podbean. And I don't know, we're everywhere. So I'm excited for that. Guys, I want to introduce a really cool gentleman tonight. I'm excited because, as always, we try to find interesting guests for the Strange Oddities podcast. The motto of the show is you just never know who's going to show up on the podcast. You never know. Well, this gentleman, he's going to be appearing at EnigmaCon April 17th at St. Albans Sanatorium with a bunch of other great fine folks in the paranormal field. I'm also going to be speaking at this event, EnigmaCon. I have to say it right. Gotta get used to that. Have to, EnigmaCon. I'll get it right by the end of the night. But anyway, we're going to have fun with Greg Copperhead Graham. He's the founder of the Appalachian Mountain Society Paranormal, and he's also been on TV a couple times. He's had appearances on Zach Bagan's Paranormal Challenge, and he's also been on Discovery Channel's 3D Forgotten Planet. So I want to welcome this gentleman to the Strange Oddities podcast as I get him in here. Greg, welcome to the Strange Oddities podcast. I'm happy to have you on board.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun, as we always do, because strange things happen here at Strange Oddities Podcast. So, of course, I'll be entertaining the weirdest questions and having fun with some of the answers. Maybe Greg will share along with those questions. And, guys, we have a chat room. If you'd like to ask us, either me or the guest, a question later in the show or throughout the show, comment on Facebook or YouTube, and I'll get your comments on here on StreamYard. So feel free to ask questions throughout the show. All right, Greg, how did you get started? What got you involved in the paranormal? Give us a brief background of how you got going here in the paranormal.
Okay, it started back when I lived in Missouri. My neighbor, when I moved over to Nixon, Missouri, my neighbor told me, he said his house was haunted. And I've always known I could feel things, but I didn't know what it was. And I was over at his house one afternoon, and we were looking to fix a bathroom floor that he had. And we're in there looking at that, and I asked him if his wife was at home, and he said no, she's at work. We were talking, and I caught something out of the corner of my eye. And I turned and looked, and there's a lady. We do the pre-1840 mountain man reenactments also. And this lady walks through in a blue dress, a white apron, and a mop cap. And I looked at him and I said, I thought you said Jane wasn't at home. He said, she's not. I stepped out in the hallway, looked down the hall. At the end of the hallway, the lady was standing there, but she was only from the knees up. There was nothing on the floor. And I'm standing there just, I've never seen anything in my life. And my buddy, he says, you see her? And he poked his head out, and as soon as he put his head out, she was gone.
Wow. So she had
from
no legs?
Yeah, she was only like from the knees up.
Oh wow.
The dress, she wasn't on the floor, and that floored me. And I looked at him and I said, he said, you saw her. He said, you're the only man that has saw her. It's always been women and kids. And I looked at him and I said, I don't know what I saw. I'm going home. I have beer in the fridge. I'm going to drink that beer. Don't come over and talk to me till it's gone, you know. And we laughed about it later, and that kind of got me started. And I started getting more involved in the paranormal and going to check stuff out. And then it's a well-known fact. I worked at Trans-Allegheny for around 8 years.
Oh wow!
And was in there every weekend, and you know, that got me more in tune, I guess you could say, being around stuff all the time.
Right.
And then I've been to multiple places, and as you said, we're going to be in St. Albans, April 17th, and I can't wait to go back there. I've been there twice now, and both times it hasn't disappointed at all. I mean, we've had a good time there.
Yeah. What did you do at the other place at Trans-Allegheny?
I was a guide there for the paranormal daytime tours, plus most of the overnights. Then moved into managing, and then I could run around a little more, and I could go in with different groups and stuff. I've had some pretty crazy happenings there. Then up at Moundsville, when we did the show, Paranormal Challenge, that's my first time being at Moundsville ever.
Oh wow!
And I had a blast that night. I hadn't had much activity, you know, in a different place.
Right.
And,
Moundsville, not to interrupt you, Moundsville is also in West Virginia, correct?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's the West Virginia State Penitentiary.
Right. Okay.
And it's one of my favorites. I mean, I love that place. We were just there a couple weeks ago, and it was the first night that I've been there when it's been quiet. Mm-hmm. And I checked my audio and stuff, and everything was just quiet. And you have that. I mean, I've had nights at all sorts of places that there's just no activity, none.
Right.
And you might get a little hit here or there, you know, something minor.
Mm-hmm.
Like down the Sugar Shack, I normally don't get anything in the Sugar Shack, and that night I got some K2 hits that I couldn't explain.
Right.
And then we tried Spirit Box, we tried everything that night, nothing. Red Cell, the ladies that I went with, they had a blast. They were in Red Cell, and I said, do you want me to leave you alone with the ladies? And of course K2 goes off, so I went and sat at the up at the other end at the tables. And
wow.
There's a guard station up above that looking down. And I was just kind of sitting there, and I got drawn to it. And I heard footsteps come out, like there was a guard come out into that. And there was nobody there. I mean, I was sitting there watching it. But before, I've had one of the guides at Moundsville, he was provoking pretty good, and I was sitting in Red Cell, and I had my audio recorder sitting there with me, and you could hear the cell doors shaking up the tier. And I mean, he was going pretty all out on it.
Yeah.
And he yelled down, he said, Red, there's somebody bigger and badder in here than you. I'm sitting on Red's bed, you know, and in my left ear I hear, no.
Oh
And
man.
I mean, I jumped and I hollered out at Brett, and he's like, "No, no, no, man, I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it." And we played the audio back. It's not there. And
Wow.
that's always crazy to me that you hear it with your ears, but it's not on your audio.
Yeah.
And then most of the time you don't hear it, you've got it. I haven't. I've only gotten like 2 EVPs that we actually heard.
Mm.
So I don't know if you can call them EVP, but you know, I mean, I got recordings of them.
Nice. Yeah, and it is rare to actually capture something you hear with your own ears, because it's hard to collaborate. You know, recording. You have an audio recorder with you, but it's hard to have it in the location that you hear it with your own ears. And it's weird because sometimes you'll have a recorder right where you heard it, and yet it's not on the recorder. It's like, and I wonder why that is. It's so strange how that happens, because it's like it was so loud to you when you hear it, but then when you play it back, you're like, damn.
we had one night down at the asylum that my son Andrew was in there with me. It was his group, and I went down and just to see what was going on. And we were in the kitchen in the very back, and he was standing to my left. The group was leaving, and I just got a new Tascam recorder. So I've got my headphones on. I'm listening real time. I'm holding this recorder out, and I said, "Hey," I said, "I hope you said something in this little red light for me." I said, "Please, please say something. Let me know you were here." No more than I said that, this blood-curdling scream, and it come through my headphones so loud that I can't even tell you how loud it was. And this black figure comes up out of the floor right in front of us.
Wow.
And I mean, he's to my left, and this thing is like at the end of my hand when I have my arm out, and it's right in front of us screaming. You can hear on the audio the people running away, and it got me pretty good. I said, "Jesus, God," and I'm going backwards, and Andrew sits there, and he turned it into an R-rated EVP because he says, "What the?"
Yeah, right. I would definitely say the same thing. I'd be like, "What the heck?"
But it appeared and then was gone. I mean, it just popped up right in front of me, and then it was gone. And he was right there with me, looking when that thing screamed. And he saw it too. So
Wow.
There was 2 of us, and yeah, I just about had to go change my shorts after that one. That's the first one. That's the first one that really got me good.
Wow.
And,
were you guys like scared, or were you like more startled, or did you feel like something bad was going to happen when you experienced that?
With that, it was just more of a startle,
Right.
I haven't had anything. I've had a few things make me leery, but I've never had anything really scare me. So to say. I've been. We had a fake shadow figure one night with a group, and the shadow figure was coming up the ramp towards us. And my group started freaking out because down the ramp is how we had to get out. They start going backwards, and I'm like, "Hey guys, we got to go that way."
Yeah.
And anyway, I had 11 people with me that saw this thing, and I said, "Stop." I said, I don't know who you are. I don't trust you. I said, for all I know, you're the one that's been messing with me for the past 3 months. And all of a sudden we hear this noise, and it's like somebody took their knuckle and hit the handrail.
Oh, wow.
Pong noise.
Yeah.
And that had been happening earlier in the night. And anyway, I said, it's time for us to go. We're going to leave. We're getting out of your space. I said, you're going to let everybody out of here, and we're going to go. I said, I'll come back later and talk to you if that's okay. And again, it sounded like somebody hit the handrail with their knuckle.
Oh, wow.
And when we get down there, my group waited till I was about even with where it was, because it just went away. And they all made me stand right there as they walked behind me to get out the door. And as I was locking the door, I was thinking to myself, is this thing going to come running at the door?
Wow.
Because what do you do? What do you do?
Right.
You can't defend yourself. You can't hit it. And but yeah, we've had some really crazy stuff at a lot of the locations. We what was that one night? We were at Hillview Manor. It was me, Adam, and Zach, the guys that I run with a lot. And we were sitting in one of the rooms, and we kept hearing like a little kid in this room. And we found out later that there was a boy in that room that loved baseball.
Oh, wow.
And I've been back to Hillview like five times. Paul, one of the guys I used to work with, he was there one night with me, and we were trying to get activity, and we went to the top floor, and I guess up there was the worst ones. And we were in a room, and we were mentioning something about sitting down on the bed, and Paul said, "Does it bother you that I sat on your bed?" All of a sudden, he jumped up, and I've never seen him really freak out, and it wasn't an over-the-top freak out. It was another one of those startle things.
Right.
But he said it felt like somebody had their hand on his stomach.
Oh, wow.
His skin. And then we went over and went to the nurse's station. And we introduced ourselves, and we said that we were from the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, and we were here to pick up the patients.
Nice.
It got a little nasty after that.
I would think, yeah.
The feeling up there was totally terrible.
Yeah. Wow. After working in Trans-Allegheny for as long as you have, did you ever feel that anything went home with you at one point, or followed you, or had an attachment at all?
No. Everybody was asked that. I've always had this habit that I turn and look at a building when I'm leaving, and I always do it. I always say, "Thank you for the visit. I'm going home now. You're not welcome to come with me.
Right.
You're bound to the building or go to the light. You're not welcome at my house." And I have personally never had anything, follow me. I've had people tell me that they've had stuff follow them. Whether they did or not, I'm not 100% sure. But me, I haven't ever really had anything like that.
So you've been pretty lucky then. Well, that's always a plus.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a good friend. She her analogy of it is, as much as we try to be careful when we go on these locations, whether we're there on a tour or we're doing an investigation, and we try to protect ourselves as best we can, sometimes it's like wearing a condom, and sometimes the condom breaks, and a couple of things can slip through that condom, and here you got something home with you, and so once in a blue moon we will because of what we do, it's inevitable that there's a good possibility that things go home with you, and that's if you're not careful. And I love how you just how you protect yourself, and you make your boundaries known before you leave. You can't come home with me. This is your location. This is your boundary. This is where you must stay. And that's great. You're very respectful with your approach.
Well, that's the other thing. I haven't provoked. I guess I did a couple times, but I look at it this way. If you got somebody that you don't know comes in and starts demanding stuff from you, are you going to do it?
Right.
No.
Right.
It's going to irritate me, and I'm going to be like, you can go away now, or just not speak at all. And with me, I guess I go with a more respectful approach. Now, I have been told to get out. I've got it on audio. I've even had them scream "get out" on audio. And I'm like, why do you want me to leave?
Right.
I pushed that boundary a little bit, and I know that's probably still considered provoking, but I want to know why.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? And that's why we're all in this. We want to know why. We want to know
Yeah.
what we're dealing with. And that's a thing that I tell a lot of people that are starting out. You know, they're like, oh man, this is so great. I watched it on TV, and I'm like, dude, this is nothing like TV.
Yeah.
You know, this
Yeah.
this stuff, I didn't actually believe that you could get scratched or you could get pushed or pinched or shoved, or I didn't believe that. I thought, yeah, that's all Hollywood. No, it's not. I've had it
No.
all happen, and it's not it's it's
Yeah.
not Hollywood. But I tell people that, and they're like, you've really been scratched? Yeah, more than once. And I've been shoved. I was going for some steps, and it felt like somebody come up behind me and hit me in both shoulder blades with their hands, you know, to shove me down the stairs. Luckily,
Wow.
I had a hold of the railing. I learned a long time ago, hold on to the handrail. Always.
Yeah. Yeah, because you never know.
No, you do not.
Yeah. The paranormal is so unpredictable. Like, you never know when it's gonna, when you're gonna have that experience or have that oh shit moment.
Yeah. And me, most people go a long time without seeing a full body apparition. You know, that's the holy grail for everybody, you know, and the better one is to catch it on camera.
Right.
And unfortunately, I've never been lucky enough to do that. But yeah, I can tell you at least 10 that I can say that I saw, you know, this solid figure, and it looked like looking at us.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to check it out, and there's nobody there.
Right.
And it just, why? Is it a loop in time?
Yeah.
You know, and they're there. I know the residual. I think that's what's going on with the residual hauntings. Is the loop.
Yeah.
But they're intelligent, and then again, they may tell you who they are, but are they really? You know, that's the other thing.
Yeah, are they being truthful?
Yeah, because I mean, I've come across a lot that they won't tell you anything.
Yeah.
You know, and then all of a sudden they're so and so.
Yeah.
And you know, how do you know? For sure.
You can't prove it. You can't. Right. Yeah. And one of the questions that I have in the field a lot in my head, in my own personal, one of the top questions that I have for everybody, and maybe I don't know what your thoughts are about this type of question I'm going to throw at you, but why is it you think, like, you're in a room that has a lot of activity going on, right? And you got other people with you, but only you saw this figure or an apparition or had this experience that you had, but you have 3 or 4 other people in the room and they didn't experience the same thing that you experienced. Now, do you know, I get some people are more open and sensitive than other people, but do you think there's another intent with that, as far as maybe a connection of different energy that you may have with that particular entity or spirit? Do you think there are other reasons, like, behind you having that experience only for you? And you think there are, like, different reasons for that?
I kind of look at it as each person has their energies, and like you just said, maybe you are the one that has the same energy wave or whatever you want to call it. Sorry about that. I thought I had that thing. It doesn't. I might have to take it out of the room. But anyway, maybe you're more in line with that energy type, I guess you could say.
Right.
Because I have had groups that they don't experience anything, and I'm going down the hallway, you know, and looking around, and I see things that they don't see. And back when I was doing that, I wouldn't tell them. I know that sounds terrible, but they're there for their experience.
Right. Yeah, you don't want to spoil it for them, right?
And if I suggest, or if I say, hey, look over there, immediately everybody's mind goes into they all saw the same thing.
Right.
And I did have a lady one night, she did see the same thing I did. And I was standing there, and these people were walking in and out of a door, and they kept wiping their face when they'd come out. And I'm like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden, this figure appears standing at that door, shoulders back, and just like it's looking straight at me. And these people are going in and out, and they're feeling around for cobwebs and stuff, and I'm like, they're not getting this. They're not seeing this. And the lady that was with me, she turned and looked and said, don't they see him? Man, that floored me, because she was seeing what I saw.
Right.
And I brought my camera up to take a picture. It wasn't in the picture.
Oh, wow.
And it stayed there.
Yeah.
Even from I took dark pictures, flash pictures, this probably went on for I'd say 4 minutes. Easy.
Wow.
And there was no pictures whatsoever. And what's funny, I believe it was Matthew Slozer that sent me a picture. He said, I got this down at such and such. And I looked at the picture, and I'm like, oh my Lord, it's him. It's what we saw. And I couldn't get a picture of it. And he's a big boy. He filled out that whole doorway.
Oh, wow.
And I don't know if he was big in life or he projects himself as being big. That's another thing. Were they really?
Yeah. Right. I'm kind of glad you brought up the cobwebby thing, because I feel that's also a phenomena that occurs when you have an experience, because I've several times have felt like I've walked as if I'm walking into a cobweb or a spider web, but there's no webs around, and you kind of feel it on your face or on your arms and hands, and you're like, but there's no spider web, and you're like, where's the web? And there isn't anything. So I find that I hear other people also have the same experience with the cobwebby feeling. What's your theory on the whole cobwebby thing kind of experience?
I think it's, in all honesty, when there's absolutely nothing there, and there's no cobwebs, I think it's the energy you're feeling, that little bit of energy, when you pass through or whatever. I was at one place one night, and something took my hair and was going like this. They saw my hair go up, and the guy that was with me reached over and knocked my hair down. I said, what are you doing? Because I didn't know what was going on. I said, what are you doing? He said, dude, something was lifting your hair. I'm like, take a picture. Take a picture. I don't care if they're taking me down the hallway, dye my hair, video this, then help me.
Yeah, get it on film first.
Yeah, get it on video, because we don't have proof without it.
Yeah. I love the people that get scared and run away rather than go after it and try to document it, because that's the goal of what we all want to do. Is like you said, we want that holy grail on photo or video of undeniable proof, and don't run away. Go after it.
Yeah, I've had the biggest guys take off.
Yeah.
And there was one night I got punched in the stomach. I had a guy on either side of me, and it felt like an air hose. Have somebody blast the air hose, and it goes in your face.
Yeah.
Well, it did that, and my hair went like this. And my hair is a little longer then, and it hit both those guys. They turned and looked at me, and it felt like punched me in the stomach as hard as they could.
Wow.
and I doubled over. I couldn't breathe. Then I felt like electricity went through. But I'm going to kick that back to probably adrenaline. You know, is what I'm thinking.
Right.
But it took me 10 minutes to get my air. I mean, it hurt.
Sure. Yeah.
And then when it was over with, they're like, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going back in."
Yeah.
You know,
why not?
Yeah, I got punched, but let's see what else we can get. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they kicked video cameras on then because we were running video at the time. And that's usually how it happens too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know. The best stuff always happens when you're not filming. Right? No, definitely. What was it like working with Zach Bagans and the Ghost Adventures crew? You've been on a couple of things of theirs. You've been on Zach Bagans Paranormal Challenge. You were a contestant, I believe, and you were also on Ghost Adventures Aftershock. What was that experience like for you?
Paranormal Challenge, I got invited by one of the guys to come and do that with him, with his group. And I did it for fun. But then once we got there and we went to eat before we did the investigation, I was looking at him and I said, we kind of have a reputation. We can't lose. So we went into it, and it was different. I mean, when you're being filmed, you got the cameraman and you got the sound man. And the sound man is flipping these cables all the time. And you hear the cables sliding on the floor, and it's messing with your head, and you can't hear what's going on around you. And it's a lot tougher than what you would think. But when we went up to the psych ward, the cameraman and the sound man were following up, and Mandy was behind me, and I'm going up the steps, and I stopped. And I turned real slow, and I looked at him, and I said, "I'm home." Just to mess with him. And they're like, what do you mean? What do you mean he's home? And he's freaking out. Mandy started laughing. She turned around. She says, "You don't know where he works, do you?" And she told him. And they're like, "Oh, okay." And we got up there and got set up. And he'd slide the cables. The cables would stop. And then I'd hear like somebody scuffing their feet. So I turned so I could watch all of them, and I did it on purpose. I moved, so he'd have to slide that thing again, and everybody was stopped, and I heard the scuff again, and that's when we did the session with the millimeter, and it had the K2 on it and everything,
right?
And went through the alphabet to get the guy's name, and it come up Mo. And so I was sitting there, and every time I go back to Moundsville, I go up and try to contact Mo. And the past 2 times I've not gotten anything up there. But I was walking the tiers, and I can't remember where I was at, but I got drawn to this one cell. I don't know what it was about it. It said, come in here. And I stepped in, and on the wall, it said, "Mo is a bitch."
Oh my God.
And I'm like, what? So I went back to the psych ward, and I said, I was trying to talk to him, and I said, "Do they consider you a snitch?" And I think that was 2 years ago. That's the last time. It's either 2 or 3. That's the last time I've gotten anything from him. I guess I accused him of being a snitch and contact. You know?
Right. Wow. Cool. I just real quick here, guys. If you're tuning in late to the show right now, I have Greg Copperhead Graham, guest on Strange Oddities Podcast that we're talking with. We've had, really great conversations about some of the great locations that he's visited and worked in, such as Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. We're talking about Moundsville Prison, known also as, West Virginia State Penitentiary. We have EnigmaCon that's coming up April 17th, 2021. Hopefully the pandemic will be better by then. And we all continue all happy and, that we can attend this great event that's going to be taking place April 17th, 2021 at St. Albans Sanitarium. It's an annual thing that they've been doing recently. EnigmaCons has, happened before. I don't know which annual event this is this year, Greg, but I know you're going to have an appearance there. I'm going to be speaking there as well. What's your take on EnigmaCon? Are you going to be talking about anything, or what are you speaking about at the event?
They asked me to speak on shadow people.
Oh, nice.
And that's a really interesting subject.
It sure is. There's a lot of theories about shadow figures.
yes, there are. The one, to me, I'm one of those people that believe and I'm kind of like I can't think of his name. Anyway, if they're hiding in the dark, shadow person hiding in the dark,
right?
To me, they're up to no good.
Mm.
I mean, most of the time I've experienced that, I've had problems.
Yeah.
I have had some that. Well, Adam was there with me when this one happened. There was a shadow figure, and we were sitting there just looking at it, and it's standing in a doorway. And another lady came up, and she saw it. And I told him, I said, "That's it. We've got to find this out." So I just started walking towards with the recorder, and of course, gone. When you get close, we've had them. I almost think some are like earthbound. They're not really human. They're like a earth spirit.
Okay.
And they're just those. To me, those are the little small ones. The little, like, I don't know what you'd call them, like an orb type thing, but in reverse. There's no light. It's just dark.
Right.
And you see those moving and all that. But there's so many theories.
Oh yeah, like I'm
still working on my my presentation on that one.
Right. I think for the most part, though, most paranormal investigators and fellow people in the paranormal community kind of agree somewhat. I would say 90% that shadow figures are leaning towards more of the theory that they're a negative entity because, like you say, they lurk in the dark, they're coming from the dark, or they're a dark figure. You can't really see any kind of detail to them, and they're usually a tall figure. Very rare that you see a small shadow figure, but but yeah, for the most part, a lot of people say that it's a negative experience, from the shadow figure. But there's so many theories, like earthbound spirit, elementals. There's so many. Yeah,
that was what I was looking for, was elemental.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many, like you can really like write a book like this thick, like just on shadow figures alone.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. I just want to give some shout outs here to the chat room, those who are listening to us live there in the chat. Deborah Allen, I want to say hello to her. Deborah, what's up? We have Lourdes Gonzalez. Her nickname is Low Key. What's up, Lourdes? How you doing? Ron and Lourdes. And of course, my beautiful wife is helping moderate the chat group for us there. So of course, want to big thank you to her, Josie, for doing a good job in there in the chat. Guys, if you have any questions for us, shoot them toward our way, and we'll answer them best we can. We got Greg Copperhead Graham here with us on Strange Oddities Podcast. We have other great people who are going to attend EnigmaCon of 2021. We have the Tennessee Wrath Chasers guys that are going to be there. Who else is going to be there? I believe somebody who's going to be speaking about Skinwalker Ranch. What's his name?
I cannot.
I know. There's
I'm
a lot of.
terrible. I'm terrible with names. If I don't talk to you a whole lot, I can't remember.
Right? All right. I got the website here, actually. It's going to help me out. I'm cheating because I'm on the website. So, guys, go to enigmacons.com, and you're going to get a list of all the speakers and the rooms they're going to be talking in. All right. Steve Dills is going to be talking about Skinwalker Ranch, which is pretty cool. I like that show a lot. I think it's got potential to maybe find a lot of UFO stuff. We all know Skinwalker Ranch and the theories of Skinwalker Ranch, but we have Greg Copperhead Graham here on Strange Oddities Podcast going to talk about shadow people. We have Southern Gypsies are going to be there. We have Alan Marston. We have Mike Concaise is going to be there. Christopher Lee Smith. And like I said, Tennessee Wrath Chasers will be there. Bedford Paranormal, Alan May, my friend Ronnie Anderson, and all those good guys are going to be there. John and Lynn Harris, Glider, Adam Bonnet, just a whole bunch of names here. Again, guys, I'm going to share the screen real quick, Greg, if you don't mind, so everybody can see. I'm going to share the website here. So, guys, here we go. Share the screen. I'm getting good at this, sharing stuff. And there you go. There's the website. That was just sold out from 2019. Oh, you know what? That's the wrong one. Ha ha! All right, hang on. Wrong website. That was St. Albans Sanatorium website. All right, hang on. Here we go. I'm going to get the right one now. Here we go. There you go, guys. Enigmacons.com. And it gives you all the great info about that weekend, location, speakers, topic. There'll be an investigation included. And tickets are really pretty reasonable, guys. I mean, it's $50 per person. They've got a lot of cool stuff here going on. So check out the website and get your tickets. If you want to do a vending table, they've got vendor rooms, I believe, and tables for vendors. Contact them for information. Contact Ronnie Anderson or Bedford Paranormal, those guys. Really nice people. I met them a few years back. Really, really good people. And I'm glad I did because I ran into this gentleman here, Mr. Greg Copperhead Graham. And, we've been talking about some fun stuff about some of the most crazy lunatic asylum locations that have lots of activity. And why do you think those type places have a lot of activity? Do you think, obviously, they were there were a lot of sick people, a lot of people died there, because some people always say, why would you want a haunted location like that? Because wouldn't you want to move on from a place where you were sick or, didn't have the nicest life for the remaining of your life? So they're like, why would you want to go back to that kind of, atmosphere that you were in for the last days of your life? But sometimes they don't know they're dead and they're still stuck in where they are. And, there's other reasons they get, tortured by, medical practices and they're experimenting with medications and medical procedures at the time were up and coming. They were just coming out with all these new medical procedures and tools that were brand new to the medical field. And these poor people, they're guinea pigs, sort of speak.
like you said, some of them might not know that they've passed. Maybe they don't know they can move on.
Right.
Um, I always tried to be as respectful as possible, because they were sick in life, or whatever their affliction was, and who's not to say they're still that same way in death.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why they're there. They don't know that they can move on. Prospect Place, that's another one that one of the craziest things we had that night. I went with Bloodhound Paranormal there, and Prospect Place was on the Underground Railroad.
Right.
And they say that there was a bounty hunter that was hanged out in the barn. Is one of the things. And me and a couple of guys went out to the barn. We're standing there, and I had said, and I know this is another thing that me and several other investigators argue about, the flashlight. How you set that mini mag up and it goes off and on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've used that on several occasions and had, spot on answers, yes or no answers with that flashlight.
Wow.
And we were there that night. I set my flashlight up, and I'd leaned up against one of the walls of the barn, and we're sitting there talking, and we looked up, and all three of us saw someone come up out of the basement and run towards, and there's another little brick building before the barn. We saw him go behind the brick building. So all three of us are like, okay, what's going on? Somebody's out here goofing around, messing with us. So we went different directions around, and there was nobody there. There were no footprints. There were nothing.
Wow.
So we go back to the barn, and I'm leaning against the wall of the barn again. Flashlight's still there. And I felt something. You know how a cat will rub up against your leg?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what I felt. And I'm like, okay. And I told him, I said, something just rubbed up against my leg. And then we smelt a skunk.
Oh, no.
I thought, oh, no.
That...
And I was sitting there and I said, turn on light. Somebody turn on light. I need to know, turn on light. And my flashlight came on. That was sitting over there, and it came on, but it was aimed a different direction. I'm like, now if you can move it so I can see what's over here. But it ended up, there was nothing. There was nothing in the barn with us. I don't know what happened. And
well, it's a good thing you didn't get sprayed by the skunk.
Yeah, and there was no skunk.
Yeah.
We looked around, and it must have been outside behind the barn or something, and the smell came in. But we were all laughing about that. I thought, yeah, that'll be great, riding home in the truck.
I don't know if anyone else has ever smelled when a skunk has sprayed, that thing. It is the most horrendous smell you'll ever come across. And
it doesn't come off easy.
No. Yeah, I don't wish that on anybody. So,
but we ended up having a good session out there. After that, I guess it took that to spark it up or something. I don't know. Yeah, but we had an awesome session there, and then one of the guys had set up a strobe light, and he was doing that, trying to watch, the strobe light. And he said he had bent down to set the strobe light. He just turned it on, and he said, I had my eyes closed when I turned it on. He said, I looked up, and there was a figure right in front of him. And wow. I'm thinking, maybe, I don't know, maybe it flashed in his eyes. But then he said he saw it run up the stairs. So we all went upstairs, of course, follow what's going on. Right. And we did. Oh, yeah. Man, we probably had an hour-long session up there.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, and then another thing, Scott Sukkel will be there at Enigma Cons.
Okay.
And he and I and the lady that ran Hillview at the time, and we were bringing in another, and I can't remember which location, but we were comparing notes on activity like Scott worked at OSR.
Mm.
So if we were having crazy activity that night, I'd slip off and call Scott and say, "Hey, how's the activity up there?" You know, and it was pretty crazy. The activity we were having, they were having.
Mm.
I mean, the same type. And one night, everything just like you turned off a light switch at 2:00 in the morning was just done. There was no more activity. There wasn't anything. And I called Scott and I'm like, "Hey," I said, "how's your night going?" He said, "Dude," he said, 2:00 is like somebody turned off a light switch. He said, "There's nothing."
Wow.
And I was, so we started kind of going back and forth between us on that and trying to document stuff. And it fell through because we all left our former employers. And but anyway, it was kind of interesting to see, and I'd like to kind of do that again with some locations to see if I could get people together and see what was going on at each place each time.
Right.
What temperatures, the temperatures, because a lot of people ask me, "Oh, a lot of stuff happens at 3:00 in the morning. That's the witching hour."
Right.
Well, yes, sometimes, and no, sometimes.
Yeah.
It depends. It depends on the night, really.
Yeah.
And they're the moon signs and all that stuff.
Right.
They say, "Oh, a full moon." I've had full moon nights that there was absolutely nothing.
Yeah. Right.
You think
Right.
it'd be wild.
Yeah.
I guess it comes in its own time. You can't make them do anything.
No. And the like I said, the paranormal is really unpredictable. You never know when it's going to happen at what time, and it'll be really rare and amazing if a team, like you said, did that and also was able to research a location for a long period of time and record those events to say, "Oh, did you get this at that time? Did you get this at this month or this day or during this weather pattern," or like you said, like with the moon. And it's a really good idea. We have a location by us where our team uses kind of as a laboratory location where we do our experiments. We frequently visit there because we know it has activity and they welcome us back to do those things quite often. I've been very fortunate that the team that we work with is welcome there that much, where we've been able to investigate it for a couple of years, and we've noticed the pattern that when it comes to weather and like thunderstorms or like a cloudy day and versus like a sunny day, that I believe thunderstorms definitely induces activity for some reason. I don't know if it's because of the static energy from the storm or if it's just the atmosphere from the weather itself, but I find interesting that weather has a big factor in activity.
Well, like I said, I've been in there when there's crazy thunderstorms. I've been in there, all kinds of things, and I've had nights that the thunderstorms actually, to me, they didn't produce any extra or any more. You know what I mean?
Right.
I've had well, one of my videos that I've got, I found a balloon laying in the floor. And I come around the corner, and I use balloons also. Now it's easier to move than a ball,
Right.
But also you've got your wind and you've got all this stuff. Well, I did this little video and I put it up for scrutiny. I mean, that's just me. But it was a calm day. It had snowed. There was no wind. And I come around the corner, and I figured it was the breeze off of me walking that made it move. So I stopped and I sat in a windowsill, and I started asking questions. And I said, move that balloon for me, if you know. And the balloon moved.
Wow.
Okay. So
That's cool.
I took my little camera, and it had video mode on it, and I set it down a little ways away from it, and I started asking questions, and the balloon was moving to my questions. And like I said, I posted it to my YouTube, and people can say what they want. I know what happened, you know.
Right.
And I hope my reputation speaks for itself, that I don't fake anything and never will. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
Right.
I've always been that way, you know, because to me, it's almost like I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to put this stuff out there, and you be the judge. And that's the way I look at it. But anyway, that little video, I think it's 4 or 5 minutes long.
Wow.
This thing only moving when I'm asking the questions. And there was absolutely no breeze whatsoever. And I've got long enough hair that if there's going to be a breeze, my hair will move. And it wasn't. And
nice.
But things like that pumps me up. That gets me going again. You know, you get in a slump, nothing happens, and you're like, oh man. And I actually took a couple years off. I didn't do a whole lot of anything. Mike Ricksecker is a really good friend of mine, and me and him went to the Belair House one night, and I had just got my DVR, and I was so pumped to set that thing up, and we had cameras and everything going everywhere. We did get some pretty cool stuff. Video, no. We didn't get any pictures. We didn't get anything like that, but we got some really cool EVPs.
Nice.
We first walked in the house. This was so cool. They unlocked the house, and we showed up. And as soon as we walked in the house, you hear somebody upstairs run down the hallway on that wood floor. And we're like, really? So we go upstairs, you know, and there's nobody there. So then we went on up to the attic. There's nobody there. We come back down, and Mike's showing me where everything's at. He said, this is the kitchen. And I got this weird feeling. I turned and looked, and I said, that must be the basement door. And I kid you not, you hear footsteps run down the stairs into the basement.
Oh, wow.
And we opened up the door to the basement, and both of us go down. We start looking around, checking things out. There's nobody there. I mean, when you go in the basement, there's one way in and one way out.
Wow.
And, you know, nobody. And then it went real quiet for a long time. And
cool.
Mike was asking a question, and he said, this is Copperhead, I'm Mike. And it was something to the effect of, we'd like to be your friend. You know, we want to hear your story. And just before the other lady speaks, on the audio, you hear a lady say, is either I guess we can, or I think we can, something like that, you know, on the audio. And it was like, awesome.
Nice.
Especially, you know, when you get the intelligent response.
Right.
That is super to me.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm just happy for any response. I'm just sitting there, you're asking like tons of questions, and you know, you do a burst EVP session, and you're just sitting there listening back, and you're not getting anything. But then when you get something, you're like, did you hear that? It's gratifying.
Yes, it is very gratifying.
You know,
I got we went to a place. It was Zach McCormick, myself, and a couple other guys. We went to a place called Eaton Tunnel here not too far from us, and it's really hard to get to. And I'd never been there, and they'd been there several times. And I got my dowsing rods, and I was using those. And I told them, I said, I think it's a girl. And we were sitting there talking, asking questions, and everything was working. All of a sudden, oh man, everything changed.
Mm-hmm.
The energy on the rods it just felt completely wrong.
Yeah.
It was like a real, how do I say it? It was a
like a change in the environment. Yeah.
Yeah. Like the whole place just changed.
The vibe changed.
The feeling I was getting was it turned nasty.
Wow.
And I looked at them and I said, I don't know what's going on here. And so I started trying to get questions and everything. And I don't hold my rods straight out. I hold them at an angle down. And they've basically got to defy gravity to move. I don't like to hold them straight up.
Yeah.
And I don't have the handles, the little copper handles. Mine's just straight copper wire.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, this whole energy went wrong. And we didn't listen to audio then. Things got really weird, and we decided to leave. And when we listened to the audio, it was crazy. We were sitting there, and I said, something's wrong. It's changed. And you hear this guy, because I said, I think the girl's gone. And all of a sudden, you hear this voice on the recorder said, "Get back in your grave."
What? Wow.
Yeah. And it was right after I said, I think the girl's gone.
Wow.
And they put it on a recorder that you couldn't put it to a computer.
Yeah.
It was on another guy's audio recorder. And unfortunately, I wasn't running mine. And but when that came across that audio recorder, all four of us looked at each other like, what?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's great.
I've been wanting to go back, and we just never had the chance to go back. And I'd like to go back again and check it out, because I don't know. The thing is that somebody said there was a train wreck or something there, and I don't know for sure. I need to really look into it.
Right.
But that was just crazy. And it's, because it was a deep male voice, and you could tell he was not happy.
Right.
Just get in your grave.
It's really rare to get a full sentence clear and like that intense, as an EVP. It's rare to get a whole sentence like that. So when you get a whole sentence, that's great.
What they call Class A, a Class A EVP. And it was definitely, oh my gosh. I still get kind of cold chills thinking, because when we heard that, it just, it threw us all four for a loop.
Nice. So, all right. We're over 9:00 now, so we're just kind of getting near the end of the show. Real quick, Greg, what can people expect at EnigmaCon or St. Albans Sanatorium itself? Maybe we can give a little preview of either yourself or just kind of like give a preview to our viewers and listeners and people in the area that want to attend Enigma. I'm going to say it right by the end of the night. EnigmaCon. All right, EnigmaCon. There we go. What can people expect?
Well, they'll have the vendors and the speakers, of course, set up, and you can go listen to the speakers throughout the day. I don't know how they've set up the packages with the ghost hunt, but they do a ghost hunt, and you'll be led to the speakers that are placed in different places throughout the building. I've had awesome experiences there. Up on top of the grand staircase, we had a shadow figure. We kept hearing somebody come up and down the stairs. It'd come up and then go down. It'd come up and then go down. And then finally it came up and we saw the shadow figure coming up. And it was like it saw us and turned around and went back down. Nice. So we go down to check it out. And there's nobody there. And we looked over and you could see a shadow figure off the grand staircase back a little ways. You could see a shadow move across the room. I have a nasty habit of finding the ones that don't like to be found. I don't know why, but I do. And I found one it was down towards the basement. I'm trying to remember. It was like a seclusion area. Mm-hmm. And it was in a broom closet of all places. And I just got that feeling. So I tried to do a session and it felt like somebody put their hand underneath my ribs and was pulling up, trying to like almost take my ribs out. That's how bad it hurt.
Oh, and wow.
The next day, that Mike Goncalves, he was there, and Adam and a bunch of us, and I was showing them that one bicep right there at your rib cage, or not bicep, I know what I'm trying to say, six pack. But anyway, your abs. That one ab.
I don't have those.
Well, I don't either. I got a mini keg. But they saw that muscle had knotted up the next day. Oh my gosh, it hurt. And it hurt for a couple of days. And I was hoping we were going to be there last year. So I'm going to have to do it again this year and go down and visit that guy again and say, hey.
Yeah, right. Just real quick, Greg. Somebody said Teresa Patron said, all right, Patron, chased by bear, says hello to Copperhead. That's what I say that real quick before I forget that. Ronnie Anderson says that Friday the speakers have their private investigation, which is cool. And Saturday is the public ghost hunt for the public that attend, which is cool. Thanks for that info, Ronnie. But yeah, I'm going to show the website again one more time here, guys, for you. Here we go. This time I'll make sure I get the right website.
Like I said, I am excited to go.
Yeah, man. I can't wait.
It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, there's the website, guys. Enigmacons.com. There, see, I told you by the end of the night I would say it right. But yeah, get all your information here on the website, enigmacons.com, April 17th, 2021. And hopefully the pandemic is better by then and, everything is, cool. And Ronnie Anderson said the King Center has been super active. That's good to know.
So. You'll have to have Ronnie tell you about the wheelchair tracks.
Okay, wheelchair. Okay.
We took Adam upstairs, and Adam, of course, is in a wheelchair. Well, we all got laughing so hard. Yeah, you'll just have to have Ronnie tell you about that one.
All right, so yeah, Ronnie, you have a story to tell when I see you. All right. So, Greg, any events other than St. Albans Enigmacons, other than that great event, April 17th of next year? You have anything coming up you'd like to share with our viewers and listeners? Any shout-outs to anybody in particular at the moment? Could be anybody, family, people in the paranormal. Any quick shout-outs to anybody? You got the floor.
Well, I will say hi back to Charlie and Teresa. And then Bedford Paranormal, they are awesome guys. And then, of course, I've talked about Mike Ricksecker and all of them. Everybody, everybody that I have ever investigated with, I hope I got to teach them a little bit, but I know they've taught me a lot. I've got a broader view now of things than when I started, and that's all due to people like you, Mike, the people that showed up. You know, the different teams that showed up to different places and teams I've investigated with.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I like about us is we can disagree on things. You know, I have my view, you have your view.
Right.
Okay. So what if they don't match? I take your view and put it with my view, and I look at things different. That's why that keeps me going in the paranormal. You know, it's a learning experience. Each investigation is different, and it always will be.
Yeah.
You know?
Good point. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I always my thing is everybody brings something different to the table. Everybody's got different skill set. Everybody's talented in different areas of the field, whether it be equipment, sensitivity, or knowledge as far as spiritual knowledge or research knowledge, historic knowledge. Everybody brings different things to the table with their backgrounds and what they do in their real life aside from ghost hunting. But when you can apply those things and learn, that's great.
Yeah. That's what a lot of people, they have their view and that's their view, and they're not going to change, and that's fine. And like I said, I take all the views and look at them, go through them, see what makes sense to me, what doesn't,
Right.
And it helps you out in the long run to just keep learning.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. All right. So, guys, we're going to end this here. I had a lot of fun here with Greg Copperhead Graham. Again, enigmacon.com, guys. Enigmacons.com, I believe, is actually the website. It's going to be at St. Albans Sanatorium, April 17th, 2021. I've had a really great night here with Greg Copperhead Graham. Greg, I hope you had fun with the interview tonight.
Oh, yeah. I had a blast.
Yeah,
always
great.
When I get to talk shop.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I produce my own show, so I could really go on like for hours and hours. But when who wants to listen to us, talk paranormal for like up to 1 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah. If it stopped then.
Yeah, exactly. But 5 o'clock for me comes really early. I work I'm a security guard at a high school, so I have to get up super early for work. So unfortunately, sunrise happens too fast. But anyway, just real quick, everybody, before we say our farewell to our viewers and listeners, as always, guys, because I'm such a patriotic person. I'm a true American, and I want to just throw out there that thank you to our men and women who serve our country, the troops, people in uniform, the doctors, the EMTs, the first responders, the frontline people, all the essential workers out there. I don't want to forget anybody, but all those who are important to the world that keep the world going. I want to just throw that out there to everyone and say thank you for what you do and, making the world go round and making it safe for everybody. I want to throw that out there to everybody, because I don't think that, that's said enough. And if it's not, well, I'm saying it again tonight. All right. So, guys, we're going to say our farewell here to our viewers and listeners. Greg, stay on the line with me. We'll say our goodbye after I, say goodbye to the fans here. And, guys, want to wish everybody a great night. Hope you enjoyed Greg Copperhead Graham. Guys, quick announcements for upcoming guests. December 3rd, the week of Thanksgiving, guys, I am not going to be hosting Strange Oddities Podcast during Thanksgiving. I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Please be safe. I'm taking a break that week, for the podcast. But December 3rd, I have Andrea Perrin. Andrea lived in the house that inspired the movie The Conjuring. She has a book, House of Light, House of Darkness. She has a trilogy, and I'm real excited to have her on the Strange Oddities podcast. And I have another great guest. I have author Bill Markley, who writes Western books about Jesse James, the outlaw Jesse James and Billy the Kid. He's written a book about Deadwood, which later became a hit HBO TV series on HBO. So I have Bill Markley, author, is going to be on, I believe, December 10th. So mark your calendars for those days of our upcoming guests. And I want to wish everybody a great night, guys. I'm going to go ahead and play our end credits here, and you guys take care of yourselves. Thanks for tuning in to Strange Oddities Podcast. Thank you for tuning in and listening to the Strange Oddities Podcast. You can listen to the rebroadcast on the KGRA Radio. Check out kgraradio.com for the rebroadcast at 2 a.m. Eastern Time, 11 p.m. Pacific Time. You can catch the Strange Oddities Podcast live every week at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Please follow our YouTube channel for our live weekly show at 8 p.m. If you like the show, please give us feedback. Email us at strangeodditiespodcast@gmail.com. You can also visit our website, strangeodditiespodcast.wordpress.com. Tune in every week, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on the YouTube channel. You can also look us up on Facebook. We have a Facebook page where all the news and information about upcoming guests and anything Strange Oddities Podcast is doing. Go to our Facebook page, give us a like, and give us a shout. Thanks a lot for tuning in. And again, thanks again for the KGRA for rebroadcasting the Strange Oddities Podcast.